Welcome everyone, join us today as we delve into the life and legacy of Bernie Marsden, the legendary guitarist of Whitesnake. From his early days in music to his rise as a rock icon. So let's dive in. Bernie Marsden, born Bernard John Marsden on the 7th of May 1951 in Buckingham, Buckinghamshire, in England. Bernie, the only child of hard-working parents Joe and Kathy Marsden, was born on the Westfields estate in Buckingham. At age 4, the family relocated to a new council house on Ovan Avenue. After failing his 11+ exams, he attended a local secondary modern school. Despite not attending university, Marsden was honoured with an honorary master's degree by the University of Buckingham later in 2015. Bernie convinced his parents to purchase a second-hand Spanish guitar for him, which he later upgraded to an electric model after saving money from his paper route. He drew inspiration from classic blues guitarists like Howlin' Wolf, as well as contemporary artists such as Peter Green and Jeff Beck. In fact, he would go on to pay tribute to Green with his 1995 album, Green and Blues. At just 15 years old, Bernie landed his first paid gig with a local band called The Originals, but soon found himself performing with the more popular, though less musically inclined act, the Daystroms. After playing with various local bands, Bernie formed Skinny Cat at 17, quickly gaining a strong local following. He turned professional with UFO in 1972, expanding his fan base across Europe. In 1973, he left UFO to join Glenn Cornick's Wild Turkey, touring the UK and Europe and making his first BBC recordings. Legendary drummer Cozy Powell then recruited Bernie for his new band Hammer, which included Deep Purple's Don Airey. Although Hammer didn't last long, they recorded a top 10 hit for Mickie Most's Rack label and completed a memorable UK tour with Suzi Quatro. Bernie then joined Babe Ruth, recording 2 albums for Capitol Records, Stealin' Home in 1975, and Kid Stuff in 1976. In 1977, Cozy Powell recommended him for the new Pace Ashton Lord Group, featuring Deep Purple founding members Ian Pace and John Lord. The group produced one classic album, Malice in Wonderland, before disbanding. During the recording of the Malice in Wonderland album, Bernie worked alongside saxophonist Howie Casey. Casey recommended Marsden join Paul McCartney's Wings, but the position never materialized as Whitesnake was forming during the same period. It was during these sessions in Munich that Bernie met David Coverdale for the first time. In 1978, Bernie joined forces with former Deep Purple vocalist David Coverdale and guitarist Mickey Moody to form a new band. Initially called David Coverdale's Whitesnake, it later evolved into Whitesnake. The band was assembled by Coverdale to promote his second solo album, North Winds. Alongside Marsden and Moody, the group recorded the Snakebite EP at Central Recorders Studio in London, releasing it in June 1978. Bernie co-wrote 2 of the 4 tracks, Steal Away and Come On, and suggested covering Bobby Bland's R&B hit Ain't No Love in the Heart of the City, which became a staple in their live performances. Later in October 1978, Whitesnake released their debut album, Trouble, featuring Bernie, Moody, and the newly included John Lord. The album reached number 50 on the UK charts. Bernie felt he had found his musical home. The following years saw the release of several albums, including Love Hunter in 1979, Ready and Willing in 1980, Live in the Heart of the City in 1980, Come and Get It in 1981, and Saints and Sinners in 1982. Bernie co-wrote many of the songs with Coverdale and sometimes Moody. One of their most significant achievements was creating Whitesnake's anthem Here I Go Again in 1982, which became a global hit and earned numerous awards. As of 2018, the song had been played over 6 million times on US radio. Despite their success, tensions arose as Coverdale sought a more polished, mainstream rock sound to break into the American market. During the recording of Saints and Sinners, a dispute with management led to Bernie's departure from the band. Coverdale eventually formed a new lineup, and Bernie took legal action to reclaim royalties owed to him. During his time with Whitesnake, Bernie released 2 solo albums. His debut solo album, And About Time 2, was first released in Japan on the Trash Trio label in 1979 and quickly became the top UK import. EMI Records then acquired the rights and released it in Europe just before Marsden's second solo effort, Look at Me Now, in 1981. Both albums were issued on the Parlophone label, making Bernie one of the few artists alongside the Beatles to be featured on the label at that time. His BBC Friday Rock Show solo sessions, which included contributions from David Coverdale and Toto drummer Simon Phillips, were later released on CD. Bernie did not release another solo album until Green and Blues in 1994. After leaving Whitesnake, Bernie briefly led a band called Bernie Marsden's SOS. He then formed Alaska with vocalist Robert Hawthorne and keyboardist Richard Bailey. Alaska released 2 melodic rock albums, Heart of the Storm in 1984 and The Pack in 1985, before disbanding. In 1986, Marsden formed MGM, featuring former Whitesnake members Neil Murray and Mel Galley, and briefly included former Toto vocalist Bobby Kimball. Although recordings were made, they were never officially released. In 1989, Bernie reunited with Whitesnake guitarist Mickey Moody to form the Moody Marsden Band. They recorded an acoustic live album, Live in Hell, in Norway, and an electric live album, Never Turn Our Back on the Blues, in England, featuring Zach Starkey on drums. The duo toured Europe and released a studio album, Real Faith, in 1994. They then formed The Snakes with Norwegian vocalist Bjorn Land, focusing on their Whitesnake-era songs and releasing a studio album, Once Bitten, and a live album, Live in Europe, both in 1998. After Land, bassist Sid Ringsby, and drummer Willie Bendixson departed, the band rebranded as the Company of Snakes. This lineup included Don Airey on keyboards, Neil Murray on bass, John Lingwood on drums, and Robert Hart on vocals. Although Hart recorded the double live album Here They Go Again in 2002, his vocals were replaced by Stefan Berggren, who also contributed to the studio album Burst the Bubble in 2003. The band eventually became M3, featuring Bernie, Moody, Murray, Berggren, drummer Jimmy Copley, and keyboardist Mark Stanway. M3 produced the triple CD DVD Rough and Ready, showcasing their Whitesnake legacy with Doogie White as a guest vocalist, and another live album, Classic Snake Live Volume 1, in 2006, with Tony Martin replacing Berggren and White. The band disbanded the same year, with Bernie, Moody, and Murray pursuing separate paths. Bernie recorded 2 soundtrack CDs, with his music featured in numerous US TV shows. He produced his own documentary DVD, filmed in Mississippi, focusing on the Clarksdale area. The film includes stories and performances, notably with James Super Chican Johnson. It even features Morgan Freeman dancing at Clarksdale's Ground Zero Club while Bernie played with his band. Bernie's deep love for blues led him to produce Larry Johnson's Blues from Harlem CD and to form close ties with blues legends like Honey Boy Edwards, John Jackson, and Louisiana Red, performing alongside them. In the 2000s, Bernie released his double CD Big Boy Blue, which included Stacks, featuring Jimmy Copley, Big Boy Blue Live, and Bernie Plays Rory, a tribute to Rory Gallagher. He also recorded a live acoustic album, Going to My Hometown, at the Radcliffe Centre in Buckingham. Castle Communications released Blues and Scales, a definitive double CD compilation featuring songs from nearly every band in Bernie's career. Bernie collaborated with singer Elkie Brooks, played with the Diesel Band alongside John Coughlin, and worked at the National Theatre on 2 Shakespeare productions with Sir Nicholas Hytner. He also wrote for Joe Bonamassa and performed with Warren Haynes of the Allman Brothers Band, joining the band on stage at the Beacon Theatre in New York. A personal highlight for Bernie was playing guitar in Ringo Starr's band, with shows in Monaco and the UK. Bernie, a passionate guitar collector, with a particular fondness for his prized 1959 Gibson Les Paul Standard Burst, affectionately known as the Beast and valued at over £1 million. With PRS and Gibson guitars releasing limited Bernie Marsden and Beast guitar editions. He shared his love for guitars through his 3-volume series, Tales of Tone and Volume, which features high-quality photographs of his collection, along with his personal stories and insights about each instrument. Bernie released his autobiography Where's My Guitar in 2017. The book was updated and reissued by HarperCollins in November 2019. In 2021, Bernie released his solo album Kings, a tribute to Albert King, Freddie King, and B.B. King, through Conquest Music. Kings reached number 18 on the UK albums chart and was soon followed by Chess, inspired by the Chicago-based Chess label. Personally, Bernie married Frances Plummer in 1980, with Cozy Powell serving as his best man. They remained married until Bernie's death and had 2 daughters, Charlotte and Olivia. Bernie's other endeavours and achievements include his inaugural Guitar Mojo experience, which was held at Stowe School in Buckinghamshire in 2018 and 2019, with a 3rd event planned for July 2020. In 2015, the University of Buckingham awarded Bernie an honorary Master of Arts degree, and in 2021, was honoured as the Lord of the Blues at the HRH Awards. Bernie continued performing solo shows, primarily at festivals across Europe and the UK. He also joined Joe Bonamassa's Blues Cruises and toured in autumn 2019, playing the Whitesnake album Ready and Willing in its entirety. Sadly, on the evening of the 24th of August 2023, Bernie Marsden passed away after contracting bacterial meningitis, with his wife and 2 daughters by his side. He was 72 years old. And there you have it. Thank you for joining us in this tribute to Bernie Marsden, a true legend of rock and blues. His talent, passion, and dedication to his craft will continue to inspire musicians and fans alike. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like and subscribe for more stories about the greatest figures in music history. Until next time, take care and bye for now.